See, I'm the luckiest person here, I can assure you. I've spent more than 20 years among the very young. I'm a head teacher of a school in Cambridge for 4 to 13-year-olds and have been, and I suppose it's very easy to reconstruct things. And where I started, I think, was always with an interest in children and their stories. So I just want to say a bit about stories, really, to you, not numbers or statistics that we're bombarded with, but stories, because they help us understand and imagine, and that's, to me, the root of compassion. My teachers meet every week to tell stories, the children's stories, to each other in groups. We meet with each child to listen to their story, and also, crucially, to try to hear the inner story, the story that they're telling themselves. We heard a lot from Kristin wonderfully about the dangers of those stories and the need sometimes to change those stories, and particularly for children to change their story about themselves is very important and can make profound differences. And I think that's true of the stories we tell ourselves. I think it's true of the stories we tell in organisations. I think it's true, and sometimes worryingly true, of the stories that society tells itself. I'll give you an example that came across a couple of days ago. We're back into hearing and telling ourselves again the story of Maddie McCann. I know it's a fact that now in children's heads there is a story that you may be stolen at night from your bed by a stranger. What society thinks about itself and what stories it tells about itself affect our children, I think. And I think that affects organisations. I think, we live in a society which is quite fearful. I heard that I think a third of the world's CCTV cameras are in this country. We watch ourselves, and we have inspection systems, we have accountability systems, we have performance measures, and these are things that don't generate compassion. I think they generate fear, which I think is the great obstacle to compassion. And I think we need to think about how we change those stories. I'll give you a story that is a simple story. Children are completely wonderful, and the adults who devote their lives to caring for them think that the most important thing in the world is their well-being and their growth. That's a story, and that's a story I've been telling for 20-odd years, and I haven't got time to tell you all of the wonderful effects of that. I'll tell you a couple of things. As a consequence of that, we've spent about 10 years creating really a way of being with children, which is about their mindfulness, their meditation, about massage, about conflict resolution, all sorts of interesting things. And that required teachers who are very busy people to give up a lot of time for that training to understand the centrality of a secure relationship with an adult in a child's lives, to think about that in their teaching, and of course, in order to think about that, to think about their own childhood, to reflect on themselves. A lot of work on that. Everybody contributed to willingly. We're now teaching mindfulness. So, rather wonderfully, the idea was that came from a working party, that we would offer a mindfulness training to all the staff, which, as those of you who've done it know, it's a rigorous thing, on top of a day's work at a school, looking after the emotions of however many young people, very demanding. Almost everybody signed up immediately to it. And that's about a culture of trust and about a story. I think it comes from that story. If you ask my teachers, I think they will tell you the story of my organisation in the same way now. And I think, therefore, there are things we need to think about. We need to listen to each other's stories and hear the hidden stories. I think we need to listen to what is our organisation's story, and I think we need to change the story of our society.